The silent discovery, in the endless darkness of deep space, far from any known star system, an alien exploration vessel drifted slowly. Its scanners were searching for minerals, signals, or anything unusual in the cold void. The crew expected nothing more than dust and silence, but then the main console beeped. A faint energy reading appeared. Old. Unstable, but very large, Captain Vaynar, a tall, scaled alien with sharp eyes, leaned closer to the glowing screen. His crew exchanged uncertain looks. The reading did not match any ship design from their databases. It was not one of theirs, nor any of their allies. The signal felt ancient. "Bring us closer," Vaynar ordered. His voice calm, but his heart raced. Slowly, their vessel approached the source. As the shadows parted, something massive emerged. A ship, broken yet intact, its hull scarred with burns, craters, and melted armor plates. Yet it still carried an aura of strength. The alien crew gasped. The ship was far older than anything they had ever seen. Its design was sharp and heavy, filled with lines of war. It was not built for beauty. It was built to fight, to endure, to kill. "Run the scans," Vaynar said. The computer hummed. Data filled the screen. The crew's shock deepened. "Impossible," whispered one of them. "This ship, it is human." The word human carried weight. Humans were a species most aliens had heard of in old whispers and forbidden records. Many considered them extinct. Others thought they were only myths, stories told to frighten children. But here, in front of their eyes, floated a warship of human origin, thousands of years old, yet still alive. The silence on the bridge grew heavy. No one spoke for long moments. The ship was enormous, bigger than most battleships of the current age. And though it looked broken, something about it still felt awake. "Should we board it?" one officer asked. His voice trembled. Vaynar narrowed his eyes. The temptation was strong. Inside might lie weapons, knowledge, or history never meant for alien hands, yet there was also fear. If humans had built this ship, what had they been fighting? After a long pause, the captain nodded. "Prepare a team." The boarding craft launched. Its lights cut through the dust and debris around the giant ship. As they entered through a torn hangar bay, the aliens felt a strange chill. The interior was dark. Metal corridors stretched like veins. Everything smelled of rust and silence. Yet strangely, the air systems still worked. One officer touched a wall panel. Dust crumbled, but underneath, lights flickered faintly. The power grid was not dead, just sleeping. They moved deeper inside, passing through wide halls and massive gun decks. Everywhere they looked, they saw marks of war, bullet holes, burned steel, melted doors. The ship had been attacked countless times, but somehow had never truly fallen. In the command chamber, they found something unexpected, rows of crystalline data logs, preserved in stasis. Each log carried a glowing symbol of Earth. The aliens carefully activated one. A hologram flickered alive. It showed a man in torn armor, his face tired but his eyes burning with fire. He spoke in old human tongue. The translation came across the alien devices. "We fought for 100 years, and still we stand. We lost our worlds, but we did not surrender. We fought in the dark, in the fire, in the cold void. We will fight for another 100 years if we must." The recording ended. Another began. This time, a woman in a command chair spoke, her voice calm, almost cold. "We are humanity. We do not break. We do not kneel. Even if the stars fall, even if the galaxy turns against us, we will fight for 1,000 years if we must." The alien crew froze. Their hearts pounded. The ship was not only a relic, it was a message, a memory of endless war. "Captain," whispered one officer, "this ship, it fought for 1,000 years." Vaynar's scales tightened. He felt fear crawl across his skin. "Against who?" he asked, but no one had the answer. Suddenly, the lights around them flickered. A deep rumble echoed through the floor. The ship was waking. Systems that had slept for ages now stirred. Panels lit up, corridors hummed, the silence of the tomb. Turned into the breath of a beast, the boarding team stumbled back as a voice filled the chamber, not mechanical, but heavy with ancient authority. Identify yourselves. Friend or foe? The aliens froze. None dared to answer. The voice repeated, louder this time, identify, friend or foe. The ship's AI had awakened, and with it, perhaps, the memory of 1,000 years of relentless war. The captain's throat went dry. For the first time in his life, he felt truly small. For in that silent discovery he realized one terrifying truth. Humanity was not gone. Humanity's war still lived, and they had just touched its ghost. Asterisk, the echoes of war. The ancient human ship was no longer silent. Its halls glowed with pale lights. Systems hum filled the void. The alien boarding team stood frozen, listening to the heavy voice of the awakened AI. Identify yourselves. That repeated. Its tone was calm but carried weight, as if every word was forged in iron. Captain Vaynar stepped forward, his chest tightened. We are explorers, he said slowly. We mean no harm. The AI paused. Lights flickered around them. Explorers, it repeated. You are not human. The words echoed through the command chamber like thunder. The crew felt the chill crawl across their spines. No, we are not, Vaynar admitted. His voice was steady but low. But we discovered your ship. We only wish to understand. For a long silence, nothing moved. Then the AI spoke again. You wish to understand. Without warning, the walls around them lit up. Holoprojectors burst to life. The chamber was filled with images, voices, screams, battles. The aliens gasped. They were standing in the middle of a war that had ended thousands of years ago. Ships clashed in the black sky. Human warships hurled fire across space. Enemy fleets, alien and massive, poured endless attacks. Yet the humans did not fall. The explorers watched as human soldiers fought in burning ruins. Children carried rifles, old men stood with blades, women commanded starships with unshaken will, the AI's voice narrated. They came from the far void, stronger, endless, cruel. They demanded surrender. Humanity refused. They fought not for victory, but for survival. For 1,000 years they resisted. One of the alien officers whispered, How can a species fight so long? Another trembled. No empire in history lasted 1,000 years of constant war. Not one. The recordings showed battle after battle, year after year, 100, then 200, then 500. Soldiers grew old in trenches. Children were born under bombardments. Entire generations knew nothing but war. The explorers felt sick. They had studied many wars. But this was different. This was not about conquest. This was about endurance. It was war as existence. The AI's voice lowered. Worlds burned, cities turned to ash, fleets shattered. Yet, they stood, always stood, even when hope was gone, even when victory was impossible. Humanity fought. The explorers watched as one hologram replayed the words of a human commander, his face bloodied, his uniform torn, but his eyes fierce. We may fall, he said, but we will never bow. Even if they take Earth, even if they take the stars, humanity will still fight, because surrender is death, and we choose war. 1,000 years of war. The chamber shook with the sound of his last cry. And then the hologram cut to silence. The alien crew looked at each other, all of them pale, their hearts heavy. They had never imagined such relentless will, one officer muttered. If humans still exist. Then no empire is safe, another said. Maybe they died, burned out in their own defiance. But Vaynar shook his head. His scales tightened. No, this ship is still alive. This AI is still awake. Humanity does not vanish so easily as... They spoke. Another hologram began. This one different. It showed a council of humans, tired and scarred. They spoke with quiet voices. We cannot win this war, one said. Then we will endure. another answered. But what of the future? The oldest among them, a woman with silver hair and fire in her eyes, leaned forward. The future will remember us. Even if no human survives, the galaxy will know. Humanity does not surrender. Humanity does not kneel. Humanity fights. Her words burned in the air. The alien crew realized what the ship truly was. It was not only a warship, it was a memory vault, a monument to endless resistance. The AI spoke again, louder this time. You ask to understand. Now you have seen. Humanity fought for 1,000 years, and we are not finished. The explorers stepped back. Some felt fear. Others felt awe. One whispered, "What enemy could demand such sacrifice? What kind of war could last so long?" As if answering, the holograms shifted again. For a moment, the explorers saw a shadow, a monstrous alien fleet unlike anything they had seen. Ships dark and endless, creatures with burning eyes. The vision flickered, then vanished. The AI cut. "The feed. Knowledge is for the worthy. You have seen enough." Captain Vaynar's heart pounded. His crew looked shaken. "AI," he said. "Who were they fighting? Who were these enemies?" The chamber went dark. For a long time, there was no reply. Then, slowly, the AI answered. "They still remain," it whispered. "And if they hear this ship has awakened, they will come again." The aliens froze. Breath caught in their throats. The idea struck them like lightning. If those enemies still lived, the galaxy itself might be in danger. Then the lights pulsed red. Warning symbols flashed across the walls. The ship's systems came alive with sudden power. The AI roared. "Unauthorized presence detected. Security protocols active. Choose now, friend or foe." The AI Guardian. The chamber glowed red, alarms blaring through every wall. The alien explorers felt their chests tighten. For the first time since entering the ship, they truly believed they might never leave alive. "Friend or foe," the AI repeated. Its voice was no longer calm. It thundered with authority. Every word carried the weight of 1,000 years of war. Captain Vaynar raised both hands slowly. His crew trembled behind him. "We are not your enemies," he said firmly. His voice echoed in the metal chamber. "We are explorers. We only seek knowledge." The AI was silent. The red glow dimmed slightly, but the tension in the air remained heavy. Finally, the deep voice answered, "Knowledge comes at a cost. Humanity paid." "With blood will you pay the same?" The question struck like a blade. Vaynar did not answer immediately. He glanced at his officers. Their eyes were wide, some filled with fear, others with silent respect for the ship's presence. One of them whispered, "Captain, maybe we should leave. This ship. It is not for us." But before Vaynar could decide, the AI activated more systems. Panels opened, holoprojectors burned bright again. The chamber filled with battle images. But these were different from before. They were not simple memories. They were tactical replays. The explorers watched as glowing maps stretched across the galaxy. Red lines marked human fleets. Blue marked their enemies. The maps changed rapidly, centuries flashing by in seconds. Battles lost, battles won, but always continuing, never ending. The AI's voice returned, calmer now. "I am the Guardian. I was created to preserve the truth. I carry the memories of every soldier, every war, every sacrifice. My duty is clear. Humanity must never be forgotten. Their enemies must never be forgiven." The explorers stood frozen. Vaynar's heart pounded. "Guardian," he said slowly, "why show us this? We are not human." The AI's tone hardened. "Because you came here. Because you touched their tomb. Because now you are part of their war." The words struck the crew like a hammer. None spoke for long moments. Finally, one officer broke the silence. "Part of their war? But the humans are gone, extinct." The AI's lights flared. Its voice thundered. "Humanity does not die. Humanity does not surrender. Even if flesh fades, the war continues. I remain. The crew shivered. They realized the truth. The AI was more than a machine. It was the last soldier, the last general, a mind sharpened by centuries of endless resistance. The Guardian continued, "This ship is not abandoned. It is a seed, a weapon, a warning. Those who discover it must choose to honor humanity or to face the same fate as their enemies." The explorers exchanged nervous looks. Some whispered of leaving, others whispered of taking control of the ship. After all, a ship of such power could change the balance of the galaxy. The Guardian seemed to sense their thoughts. Its voice turned cold. "Do not mistake silence for weakness. I have destroyed fleets greater than yours. I have watched empires rise and fall. You are but insects in the shadow of humanity's war." The walls trembled. The floor shook. The ship's ancient weapons hummed faintly, as if remembering their purpose. One officer, trembling with greed, stepped forward. "Captain, we cannot leave this. Imagine what our empire could do with this technology. This ship could make us unstoppable." Vaynar's eyes narrowed. "And if we try to take it, the Guardian will kill us," he said coldly. "This is not a treasure. It is a test." The Guardian's voice echoed. "Wise words, Captain. Humanity tested me with war. Now I test you. Will you be worthy? Or will you fall?" The alien stood in silence, not knowing how to respond. Then, slowly, the Guardian opened a hidden panel. A stasis pod rose from the floor. Inside was a crystalline cube, glowing faintly. "This," the Guardian said, "is the memory core. It holds the full truth. Only the worthy may see it. Only those who prove loyalty to humanity may unlock it." The aliens leaned forward, staring at the cube, their breath caught in their throats. Vaynar felt his heart race. What knowledge lay inside? What secrets of war, of power, of enemies? The Guardian's lights flared brighter. "Choose, explorers, friend or foe. If friend, you will carry the burden of memory. If foe, you will not leave this ship alive." The chamber fell silent. The crew looked at their captain, waiting for his command. Vaynar clenched his fists. His mind raced. Should he accept? Should he reject? Or should he try to escape? But before he could decide, the Guardian shifted, its tone dropping to a low growl. "Warning," it said. "Unidentified signals approaching. Long-range scanners detect movement. The enemy returns." The aliens froze. Their eyes widened. "Enemy?" Vaynar demanded. "What enemy?" The Guardian's lights flickered violently. The ship's systems roared to life. Engines hummed. Guns glowed faintly. For the first time in 1,000 years, the warship prepared itself. "They are coming," the Guardian said, its voice sharp. "They always come. The war never ended, and now you will see it with your own eyes." The records that burn. The alien explorers stood frozen as the Guardian's deep voice echoed through the command chamber. "They are coming. The enemy never stops. The war never ends." Captain Vaynar's throat went dry. His crew exchanged fearful glances. Their scanners confirmed what the AI had said. Something moved in the distant dark. Shadows on the edge of space. The Guardian's lights pulsed. "You must understand what humanity faced. Only then will you know why this ship exists." Before the aliens could respond, the walls shifted, panels slid open, revealing hidden projectors. Flames of light filled the chamber. For a moment, the explorers thought the ship was burning. But it was not fire. It was history. Holograms exploded into life, showing entire human cities engulfed in war. Towers collapsing, skies filled with streaking fire, oceans boiling under orbital strikes, the air filled with screams. The aliens covered their ears, but the sound pressed deep into their bones. "These are the records," the Guardian said, its voice low. "Every human cry, every sacrifice, every defiance was burned into me. They cannot be erased. They must never be forgotten." The explorers watched as battle after battle flashed around them. Children huddled in ruins, clutching rifles too large for their hands. Mothers stood at barricades, firing until they fell. Soldiers with broken armor charged into hopeless fights, shouting words the AI translated for them. For humanity. One alien officer trembled. This is madness. 1,000 years of this. How did they survive? Another whispered. They didn't. That's why this ship is a tomb. But the Guardian's voice shook the air. No, humanity never dies. Humanity endures. Even when their bodies burned, their will survived. That is why I remain. That is why you are here. The explorers tried to look away, but the holograms forced them to see. Every image seared into their minds, every scream a scar, every face a reminder of the cost of resistance. Finally, the Guardian slowed the flood of memories. The chamber dimmed. Only one hologram remained. A council of human commanders, tired but unbroken. A woman with steel-gray eyes spoke. If we cannot win, then we will make the war eternal. Let the galaxy know. Humanity does not surrender, even if we are ashes. Let them remember us with fear. Let them remember us with fire. The alien explorers felt their skin crawl. Those words were not a speech. They were a curse cast upon the stars. The Guardian's lights burned brighter. And so it was done. Their vow was burned into me. Their enemies still search, still fear, still tremble. And now you outsiders must carry this truth. Captain Vaynar's voice shook. Why us? We are not human. Why show us this? The AI's tone dropped to a whisper, though the words still carried power. Because truth cannot stay buried. Someone must see. Someone must tell the galaxy what humanity truly was. Not weak, not fragile, but unyielding. They fought for 1,000 years and still, the war is not finished. The explorers stood in silence, haunted by the images. None of them could forget the burning cities, the endless screams, the iron vow. But then something unexpected happened. A panel in the floor opened, and another crystal core rose into view. It glowed hotter, brighter, not with calm light, but with fire. The Guardian's tone hardened. This is the burning record. It holds the names of every enemy that humanity fought. It holds their strategies, their weaknesses, their shame. To hold it is to inherit their war. Are you prepared to bear that burden? The alien crew stepped back in shock. One officer shook his head violently. No! This is cursed knowledge. If our empire takes it, we will be marked. We will inherit humanity's enemies. But another officer, greed glimmering in his eyes, whispered, Think of the power. If we know the secrets of the human wars, no one can stand against us. We can rise above every empire. This ship is not a curse. It is salvation. The crew began to argue, fear against ambition, awe against greed. Their voices clashed in the chamber, but the Guardian remained silent, simply watching, judging. Finally, Vaynar roared, Enough! His voice echoed through the chamber. He turned toward the glowing crystal. His hands trembled. He knew the choice before him was not just his own. It was for the future of his people, maybe even the future of the galaxy. Before he could act, the Guardian spoke again, its voice colder than ice. Decide quickly. The enemy draws nearer. Already their shadows move. Already they taste the scent of this ship. The alien crew froze. The scanners confirmed it. Multiple. Faint signatures closing in. Unfamiliar, ancient and monstrous. The Guardian's lights flared. If you take the burning record, the war becomes yours. If you reject it, you must leave this place, and pray the enemy does not find you. There is no middle path. Vaynar's claws dug into his palms. His crew stared at him, some pleading with their eyes, some urging him forward, and then, with a deep rumble, the ship's weapons hummed alive. Massive cannons turned slowly, aiming at the void beyond. Outside, the stars themselves seemed to shiver. The Guardian's final words shook the chamber. Choose now, aliens. Stand with humanity. or burn with their enemies. The war that never ended. The alien explorers stood frozen, staring at the glowing crystal known as the burning record. Its red light pulsed like a heartbeat, filling the chamber with a sense of fire and death. "Captain." Vaynar's claws clenched. His crew whispered behind him, some urging him to take it, others begging him to leave it alone. The Guardian's voice echoed through the chamber, steady and cold. "The war is not over. Humanity fought for 1,000 years, and their vow remains unbroken. Even now, their enemies still wait in the void. They do not rest. They do not forgive." The words sent a chill through every explorer. The war they thought was ancient history was still alive, still breathing, like a wound that never healed. "Captain," one officer said in a shaking voice, "if we take that record, we inherit their curse. Those enemies will come for us. Our empire cannot withstand what destroyed." "The humans," another officer, eyes glimmering with hunger, whispered, "but if we take it, we gain their secrets. We can wield their knowledge, rise above the galaxy. Humanity's enemies will fall before us." Vaynar stood between fear and ambition. His eyes shifted to the Guardian. "You said their vow still remains. What does it mean?" The Guardian's lights dimmed, and then the walls flared with new images. Vast star maps appeared, beacons scattered across the galaxy lit one by one. Each beacon carried the human symbol, the mark of endurance. The Guardian's voice grew heavy. "When humanity vowed to resist for 1,000 years, they built this." The map pulsed with hundreds of tiny red lights. A network of war beacons, silent, waiting, hidden in dust clouds, asteroid belts, dead worlds. Each one holds fragments of their war, fragments of their will. Together they are the eternal oath, and the oath still stands. The explorers gasped. Hundreds of hidden signals, scattered like embers across the stars, burned in the hologram before them. One officer whispered in terror, "You mean, the humans are still fighting?" The Guardian's voice sharpened. "Yes, in shadows, in ruins, in forgotten places they endure. The enemy never finished them. Humanity never surrendered. The war never ended." The words hit like thunder. Vaynar's heart pounded. If even a fraction of humanity still lived, it meant their empire was not extinct. It meant a fire still smoldered in the galaxy. The Guardian continued, "This ship is one of many, a memory vault. Each one carries fragments of their endless resistance. Together they are not dead, they are waiting." The explorer's legs trembled. The thought of a hidden human network, silent for centuries, now beginning to awaken, shook them to their core. But then, the ship's scanners blared. Hostile signals drew closer, sharp and fast. The Guardian's lights flared red. "They come as they always do, drawn by the fire of humanity's oath." The alien crew panicked. "What are they?" One officer cried. The Guardian's tone dropped like a blade. "The enemy, the devourers of stars, those who demanded humanity kneel, those who could not kill their spirit, they still hunt, and now they come for you." On the viewing screen, distant shapes appeared, shadows moving like predators. Their ships were dark, jagged, and enormous. Unlike anything the explorers had seen, their designs were not of logic or beauty. They were weapons of hunger. The crew felt terror like never before. Some shouted to flee, others begged the captain to decide. The burning record still glowed. At the center of the chamber, its light demanding an answer, Vaynar's chest burned. His mind raced. If they took the record, they would inherit humanity's enemies. If they left it, those enemies might still destroy them. Either path led into darkness. The Guardian's voice pressed into his soul. "Choose, Captain. Stand with humanity, carry their oath, fight their war, or run and be hunted." The chamber shook as the ancient ship powered up fully. Weapons that had slept for 1,000 years came alive. Cannons glowed, missile bays opened, energy surged through the decks. The explorers felt the deck tremble. Under their feet, This ship still remembers how to kill, the Guardian thundered. It remembers 1,000 years of war. If you stand here, you are part of that war. The crew looked at their captain, their faces pale. Some wanted to escape. Some wanted to fight. But all knew the decision lay with him. Vaynar's claws tightened, his voice low but firm. If the war never ended, then maybe we were never outside it to begin with. Before he could say more, the screen flashed. The enemy fleet had arrived. Dozens of monstrous ships cut through the void, their hulls shimmering with unnatural shadows. They surrounded the eye, ancient human vessel like wolves circling a wounded beast. The explorers' hearts froze. Their small transport would never escape such hunters. Only the ancient warship stood between them and certain death. The Guardian's voice roared like thunder, shaking the chamber. The enemy has come, as they always do. Stand now, aliens, and make your choice. Will you fight with humanity, or will you burn with them? The explorers' breaths came short and fast. The burning record pulsed hotter, as if it too demanded an answer. Outside, the enemy ships charged their weapons. Inside, the ancient warship prepared to unleash fire unseen in centuries. Captain. Vayner felt his decision pull at him like gravity. His next words would bind not just him, but his entire people, his entire future. The return of fire. The first shot streaked through the void like a lance of darkness. It slammed against the human. Warship's shield grid, 1,000 years old. The systems groaned. Sparks flashed. But the ship held. Inside the chamber, the alien explorers staggered as the deck shook. The Guardian's voice thundered through the halls. The enemy strikes, as they always have, as they always will. Now you will see why humanity endured. Captain Vaynar gripped the railing. His crew's eyes darted in panic. Outside, monstrous alien ships circled like predators. Their hulls writhed with strange black energy. They moved with unnatural grace, like shadows given form. The Guardian's lights pulsed blood red. Weapons online, it declared. Across the ship, ancient cannons turned, missile silos hissed open, power surged through coils long dormant. The explorers felt the vibration of energy building, like the heartbeat of a giant waking from slumber. One officer gasped, "This ship, it can still fight?" The Guardian's tone was cold iron. This ship was built for nothing else. On the screens, enemy ships unleashed another wave. Beams of green fire tearing across the void. The human vessel shuddered, plating cracked, yet the Guardian roared, "Return fire!" The deck trembled as the warship answered. From its massive guns, torrents of plasma erupted. Missiles streaked into the dark. A storm of fire lit the void. For the first time in centuries, the ancient human warship roared to life. The aliens gasped as enemy vessels exploded in blossoms of light. Shattered fragments spun into the abyss. The Guardian spoke with pride. "This is the fire of humanity. This is the war that never ended." But for every enemy ship destroyed, 2 more advanced. Their shadows grew thicker. Their energy beams cut through armor like claws through flesh. Sparks rained from the ceiling. The alien explorers clung to rails, fear tightening their throats. "Guardian!" Vaynar shouted over the roar. "We cannot win this. There are too many." The Guardian's voice answered like a storm. "Humanity never fought for victory. They fought for defiance, for survival, for the right to exist. You asked to understand. Now you will." The holograms around the chamber shifted, replaying. Fragments of the ancient war, soldiers charging into hopeless battles, fleets standing against impossible odds, children raising banners even as their homes burned. "See them," the Guardian commanded. "See how they endured. Do you understand?" Now why the enemy feared them, why they still fear them. The explorers trembled. Their fear shifted into something else. An awe so heavy it felt like chains. Another explosion rocked the ship. Metal screamed. Flames burst through the hallway behind them. One officer fell to his knees. "We are doomed, Captain!" This ship is dying. But then, something unexpected happened. Across the star map, tiny red beacons began to glow. First 1, then 3, then 10, then dozens. The Guardian's voice dropped to a whisper. They heard the call. The explorers froze, staring at the map. "What is that?" Vanar demanded. The Guardian's lights burned brighter. "The network awakens, other memory vaults, other ships, other fragments of the Oath. They answer, they rise." The alien crew's jaws dropped. Across the galaxy, hidden signals pulsed back. Ships thought lost, stations buried in dust. Fragments of humanity's war machine began to stir. "They were never gone," the Guardian said. "They were waiting, waiting for the call, waiting for the enemy to return. And now, the fire returns. Outside, the enemy ships pressed harder. More beams rained down. The human warship groaned under the pressure. Its hull cracked. Alarms howled. Yet still it fired back. Every cannon, every missile, burning through the void. Captain." Vanar's heart pounded. He could no longer deny the truth. Humanity's war was not over. Humanity itself might not be gone. Their weapons still answered. Their fire still burned. The Guardian's tone sharpened. "Captain, your choice remains. Stand as humanity's ally, carry the burning record, and fight beside them, or flee and be hunted forever. There is no escape from this war." The chamber shook again, as another blast ripped through the ship. Sparks showered the explorers. Fear spread like wildfire among them. But in Vanar's eyes, something else flickered. Not just fear, but resolve. He stared at the burning record. Its glow pulsed like a living flame, demanding his answer. Behind him, some of his crew shouted to flee, others shouted to fight. But Vanar knew hesitation would kill them all. He stepped forward. His claws hovered above the glowing crystal. For a breath, the chamber held its silence. Even the Guardian waited. Then Vanar pressed his hand onto the burning record. The crystal flared. A surge of light engulfed him. The ship trembled as if it recognized the choice. The Guardian roared, "So be it. The war is yours now, alien captain. You have chosen the Oath." The crew shielded their eyes as the record's light poured into the ship. Systems surged with new power. Energy crackled through every weapon. Shields blazed with fresh strength. The human warship screamed back to life as if reborn. Outside, the enemy fleet faltered. Their shadows twisted uneasily. For the first time, they sensed not just an old relic, but a fire burning anew. The Guardian's voice thundered. "The enemy fears the fire. Always they fear it. Now they will face it again. Humanity returns through you." Asterisk. The galaxy trembles. The ancient human warship roared across the void. Weapons once silent for 1,000 years, burned with new life. Plasma storms ripped through the darkness. Enemy ships shattered into fragments of metal and shadow. The alien. Explorers stood in awe, their fear mixing with a strange fire of courage they had never felt before. The Guardian's voice thundered through the ship. "The fire returns. Humanity fights again. The Oath is alive." Captain Vanar staggered against the railing. His chest heaved, his claws still glowed faintly from touching the burning record. He could feel its weight in his soul, a burden and a strength at once. He was no longer just an explorer. He was bound to humanity's war. Outside, the monstrous enemy fleet regrouped. Though shaken by the sudden fury, they did not flee. Their ships moved like a living swarm, waves of black energy boiling across their hulls. They had fought humanity for 1,000 years. They knew the fire, and they feared it, but they would not stop. The Guardian's tone sharpened. "They will not retreat. They never retreat. They will throw their endless swarm until all burns. That is what humanity endured. That is what you must endure." The explorers' throats tightened. One officer whispered, "We cannot face this, not forever." But the Guardian answered, "That is the lesson of humanity. Victory is not survival. Defiance is survival. Existence itself is victory." The ship unleashed another wave. Dozens of missiles streaked through the void. Fireballs erupted as enemy vessels fell. Yet more replaced them. Shadows upon shadows, the void shook with war. Then, across the star map, the red beacons pulsed again. Hundreds now, stretching across the galaxy. Each one answering the call of the oath. Each one burning like a star of defiance. The explorers gasped. More. There are more of them. The Guardians' lights burned brighter. Yes, humanity scattered their fire across the galaxy. Hidden vaults, sleeping ships, silent stations, all are waking. You are not alone. Signals burst through the ships. Comms, ancient voices, distorted but alive. Some human, some automated, all carrying the same words. We endure, we fight, we rise. Captain Vaynar's eyes widened. They are still out there, humans. They survived. The Guardian's voice shook the chamber. Fragments, embers, ghosts perhaps. But together they burn. And together they will rise again. The enemy fleet pressed harder. Beams of green light hammered the shields. Hull plates cracked. The warship shuddered. Smoke filled the corridors. Sparks rained from the ceiling. One officer screamed, "We cannot hold, Captain! The ship is breaking!" But Vaynar's eyes burned now with something new. Then we fight until we burn, like they did. His words echoed through the chamber, and for the first time, his crew felt the same defiance. The Guardian's voice roared with pride. Yes, that is the oath. That is humanity. The ship powered its last reserves. Cannons screamed, missiles launched, a storm of fire engulfed the void. Enemy ships exploded one after another. The swarm faltered. Their shadows flickered. For a moment it seemed the ancient fire truly shook them. Then suddenly, the enemy fleet pulled back, not destroyed, not defeated, but retreating into the black. Their signals dissolved into silence. Their shadows melted away. The explorers stared in disbelief. They are leaving. The Guardian's tone dropped low. Do not mistake it for victory. They never stop. They never forgive. They retreat only to return stronger. The war never ends. The silence after the battle was heavy. The alien explorers slumped against the walls, gasping for breath. Their ship was scarred, their hearts shaken. Yet something inside them had changed forever. Captain Vaynar looked at the burning record. Its glow had dimmed but not gone. He knew its fire now lived within him. We carry their war, he whispered, and their enemies will come for us. The Guardian's lights pulsed gently, almost like approval. Yes, and so you must decide. What to do, hide and be hunted, or rise and fight. Humanity will rise again, but they will not rise alone. The words echoed in every explorer's heart. They understood now why the galaxy had whispered of humans in fear. They were not myths, not gone, but embers waiting to burn. And now, through this choice, the fire had spread far across the galaxy. The red beacons continued to glow. Some faint, some strong, but all alive. In alien councils, in hidden empires, in silent voids, rulers and warlords would soon see them and tremble, because the oath was awake again, humanity's vow of endless. War had spread into the stars once more, and the galaxy would never be the same. Captain Vaynar stood tall in the wrecked chamber. His crew watched him with uncertain eyes, some with fear, some with respect. He had chosen, and now they all carried the weight. The Guardian's final words rumbled through the silence. Remember this, explorers. Humanity is not gone. Humanity does not surrender. Humanity never dies. And now, neither will you. Outside, the stars burned cold and endless, but in their light, the galaxy trembled, for somewhere, in countless forgotten corners, humanity was stirring, and the war, that eternal, relentless war, was only beginning again.